Hey, what is going on, all you Nice Talking ToYa fans? This is the Nice Talking ToYa podcast. Happy May the 4th be with you. It is May 4th, and it's been a busy day. We're getting close for our trip back east to Daytona, Florida, which my father and I are going to record content on the way, and eventually I might just post them right away as episodes or post them later. But we'll see how that kind of works out. So what do I got going on for you for this episode? There's a lot of stuff going on as far as sports-wise. We have the NHL playoffs, starting to heat up. There was a fight against Toronto Blue Maple Leafs and the Lightning, Tampa Bay Lightning. And right now the Lightning they're the hot team. They're like the Yankees of the NHL. So everyone's out to get them, so rightfully so. But we'll see how that series pans out. NHL hockey is the best. NHL playoff hockey is the best. Hockey is awesome. But we also have Champions League, so I'm going to give a big shout out to that. I'm not a big follower, but I know that Man City got snuffed out by Real Madrid. My apologies, Man City. It's going to be Liverpool versus Real Madrid in the finals. Man City got knocked out by a couple goals. If they would have scored one or two goals in that match today, they might have pulled it off. Who knows? I don't know. So tough break, but that's how the cookie crumbles sometimes. What else? It is May 4th, so I'm going to cover some interesting Star Wars facts, some factoids, and I also want to cover, if you haven't already noticed, baseball has changed their playoffs outlook this year. So they're going to actually have 3 divisional winners and then 3 wild card teams advance to the playoffs in each division. So AL and NL. And how they are set up. So this is the first time that there's going to be a bye. If you win your division, you have the best record. The 2 best records of division winners get a bye, which is huge. And they're going back to the 3-game format in the wild card series. They're doing away with that single game, which I think is awesome, because you can't let it all ride onto one single game in baseball, because it's just not enough. You need that extra game. It's almost like that's why soccer and Champions League, or football, excuse me, because it's European football. It's not soccer. It's soccer here. It's football over there. How they kind of did that same format. They had 2 semifinal games where you play your opponent. Like Man City played Real Madrid twice, and they played them the second time today, which is cool because it doesn't put all your eggs into one game. But before I dive into all of that, as far as baseball playoffs and Star Wars facts, I wanted to cover, because why this podcast? Like, why, obviously, if you haven't noticed, this is episode 7, and each of the episodes I haven't said, my name. Because I don't want it to focus. It's not about me. It's not about any kind of one individual person. It's something bigger in the aggregate. It's something much larger than any one individual person or company or organization or law firm. But obviously right now it's just me talking. So if those of you who do not know who I am, for those of you who do know who I am, this kind of gives you more of a deeper out, of who I am. And for those that don't know who I am, this kind of introduces you and exposes you to who I am. So who am I? Well, I am a man of very unique skill set that have been developed over the course of an extensive career that went from the military, working in drone operations, and transferred into the legal sector, analyzing legal documents and this, that, and the other, things that I can't really dive into. Both of those sections, I had a top secret clearance in the Air Force, and it moved on to having that same kind of, secrecy, I guess you can say, or just you don't want to expose information. So, but what I've gained and what I've been programmed to do as far as the analysis, you can kind of use those same skills and apply them to different things. For instance, investment bankers use the same set of skills that I do. Obviously, they'll use different programs that have different algorithms that are geared towards certain data sets. And then also I use it, I apply it to fantasy baseball, which right now I'm not doing very well in. I'm 0-4. So, but I haven't been really focusing on fantasy baseball. I've been focusing on this pod. But that's who I am, and that's what I've been doing in the past. That's what I do now. And it's similar to that movie, Beautiful Mind, to where, John Forbes Nash, that's what the movie's all about. He developed the game theory equilibrium algorithm, which is the GTO, what we apply to, when I say we, I mean in poker, because I use the same analysis into poker when I was playing, which I don't play as much anymore. What John Forbes Nash was doing was he was using those same analysis skills and applying them to real life situations, because you can't. It takes a unique kind of mindset, and you have to kind of know what to look for. But the one thing I was discussing when I was interviewing somebody from a law firm, and he made a great point discussing that our skills can be applied anywhere, as long as you have, you understand what you're looking for, you understand how you're looking for it, and you're understanding the data that you're using and how to apply that data into your formulas to get a certain output. So it's kind of like, where you are, where you're going, and like what the answer is. So that's that. So I will go, this journey through the Nice Talkin ToYa podcast. I will go through and I will apply those same analysis skills through different things. But like I was saying, it's not about me. I don't want it to be about me. I want it to be, inclusive with everybody, and start having these conversations, these important conversations that I've noticed on a macro scale. Things have kind of reached a tipping point, in my opinion. Start having these important conversations globally, not just here in the United States, but, on a global scale, and starting to come to a mutual understanding, a mutual compromise agreement, so to speak. But let me know what you think. If that kind of sparks your interest, or it hits kind of a nerve. But email the pod at Nice Talkin ToYa 21@gmail.com. But it is May 4th, so may the 4th be with you. And I jotted down some interesting Star Wars facts, if you didn't already know these facts. So Star Wars, the original episode, which now is episode 4, but when it first came out, there was no, it just was the trilogy, Star Wars trilogy. But once they expanded it in episode 1, so episode 4 came out May 25th, 1977. George Lucas made a small cameo in episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. He was a Pantorian senator with blue paint all over his body. He appears in a corner for a very short duration of the scene in the 4th movie of the franchise, Revenge of the Sith, which technically is the 3rd, episode 3, so it's technically is it the 3rd or 4th? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what order we're in anymore. Don't you crazy Star Wars fanatics, don't get mad at me. Like, I don't know all the order. I like the originals. I'm the original guy. I think, that's me. George Lucas did confirm that Chewbacca so the inspiration for Chewbacca was based off his dog. He had an Alaskan Malamute, and he would ride in his car in the front seat, never driving. And if you think about it, Chewbacca was Han Solo's co-pilot and partner, and he would never fly the Millennium Falcon, but he was always in the passenger seat. So I think that's a cool little tidbit where where the artist kind of gains inspiration. I always love that too. I always dive into artists, authors' background and history to figure out where they're drawing, their inspiration from. Like, for instance, how Robert Louis Stevenson, drew inspiration from Monterey he drew inspiration for Treasure Island in Monterey when he was staying there during a brief moment of his travels around the country. And different other things like Ernest Hemingway, once he got back from World War I, how he went up to Michigan and different parts of the country and traveled all over to gain inspiration for his short stories and novels. It's just fascinating stuff. So yeah, that is that. Star Wars facts for you. And in and of itself, George Lucas, I think, was kind of ahead of his time back in the 70s when he started writing this script. And I think George was onto something with regards to the Empire and the Force and, the dark side versus, the light side. Obviously, that's all fiction. But if you get down to like the brass tacks, who could be the evil Empire now? If there happened to be one. If you were to apply it, like, who is the Empire? Like, who is Darth Vader? And if you want my opinion on it, which I'm going to give it to you because, hey, you're listening to it. Like, to me, I think a Jedi and a Sith are like attorneys. Like, there's certain attorneys who are part of the dark side, and they want to use their powers of the law and manipulation and being able to kind of influence certain aspects in the legal field and certain corporations in a negative way. Whereas on the flip side, there are attorneys who are countering that, who are defending and upholding the Force, so to speak, and everything that's righteous and good in our world and in our country, and fighting for those things. And it's a struggle back and forth between the Sith, which, bad attorneys, and then the light, which is good attorneys. And if you were to ask me, like, where do you stand? Well, I'm like Han Solo. I haven't won my Millennium Falcon in a poker game yet, but I'm still waiting on that. That's going to be my goal one of these days. Win a Millennium Falcon. Have someone. That'd be actually a good little poker token to have. Like, you usually have your token on top of your cards. It's called a card protector. And the reason why you do that is just in case the happen chance, because you can go all in playing poker. If you happen to go all in and you don't have something protecting your cards, and you happen to be next to the dealer and your cards are close to the dealer or close to the muck pile, sometimes, and this has happened, you put all your chips in the middle, and like the dealer, for some reason, in the commotion of organizing all the chips, let's say you go all in and somebody calls and somebody else calls, but there's less amount of chips, and the dealer has to kind of navigate and like count and like separate all these pots, and say your cards happen to be close to said dealer. That dealer at one point can just grab your cards and like take them into the muck because they didn't realize those are your cards. Hasn't happened to me, but I've heard some horrible stories about that. So anyways, like, a card protector is that protects you from that happening. So that'd be kind of cool if somebody had their card protector and it was a Millennium Falcon and we were playing a cash game and they couldn't like afford a bet or something against me. I would be like, well, I'll take that card protector, and then I'll win my Millennium Falcon finally. But I digress. So yeah, that's that. That's who I am. Covered Star Wars facts, Champions League, NHL hockey. All right, so baseball playoffs are different this year, and I briefly touched on it. And the reason why I wanted to dive into that is because the importance of winning your division this time around. And especially, because I look at it now, and they compared, I was reading an article, and they compared the extra teams that would be in the playoffs last year in this new format versus the old format. And for instance, like the Reds and the Red Sox, Blue Jays, the Reds and the Blue Jays would be additional teams that would have made the playoffs last year with this new format. And because the Blue Jays had an amazing record last year. I think they had 98 wins off the top of my head. I don't know. Don't quote me. I can look it up right now, but I'm not going to take the time. So I just think it's awesome. I think the Angels, if they go the course, if they keep playing hard, if they start to develop some of those young pitchers that they drafted a couple years ago, all college pitchers, which some of them I was looking at their stats over in AA and single high A's. Some of those guys are ready to come up. Give them a couple more games, give them a couple more months, but they're throwing lights out. And I think they set themselves up, the Angels, for success, especially with this format. And then also on the flip side, in the other division, in the National League, the Mets have set themselves up for success. So it's exciting. More teams in the playoffs. Just like the NHL, having more teams in the playoffs is great for the game. It's great for the sport. It's great for the teams as well. Brings more revenue. So, yeah. Unfortunately, we're going to miss Shohei Ohtani bobblehead day over in Anaheim. And I'm kind of bummed about it. It's May 10th. I'll be in Florida by that time. So, if anybody wants to go to an Angel game, I will give away tickets. Hit me up on the pod at the email, Nice Talkin ToYa 21@gmail.com, and the pod will give you tickets. We can work out a deal. If you want, let's say there's 4 tickets and you want 2 of the bobbleheads and you give me 2 of the bobbleheads, that's fine. I don't mind. I just want 2. I just want 1 to open up and 1 to keep in a box. So, but the first 25,000 fans for the May 10th game in Anaheim, I believe it's a Tuesday, get a Shohei Ohtani MVP bobblehead. Legit. So yeah, hit up the pod. Let me know. And yeah, that's all I got for you. As always, it's been nice talking to you.